We'll call the meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Start with roll call.
Mr. Boggs. Mr. Burley.
Here.
Mr. Bush.
Here.
Mr. Mancino.
Here.
Ms. Rogers. Here. Ms. Smiley.
Here.
Mr. Truax.
Here. All right. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming to the Wednesday, May 7th, 2025 Planning and Zoning meeting. And we will start, first of all, A still remains tabled, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Next, B is rezoning application ZON-25-001. Needs to be removed from table, correct?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct. Yep.
So I'll put a motion to remove it from table.
I second.
Second, thank you. Roll.
Mr. Smiley.
Yes.
Mr. Mancino.
Yes.
Mr. Truax.
Yes.
Mr. Burley.
Yes.
Ms. Rogers. Yes. Mr. Bush.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have anybody here to speak for this? Or start with, yes, I'm sorry, staff.
No
Sorry.
worries.
I'm sorry. Go
The
ahead.
location of this one's going to be at 6500 Taylor Road, currently zoned M1 light manufacturing. The applicant's requesting a recommendation of approval to rezone the property from M1 to PRO Professional Research Office pursuant to section 1217 10 of the Pataskala Code. So if you remember, we did hear this last month and it was tabled. The original request was to rezone it to GB. However, we discovered there was a really obscure section of code that said GB can only be along collectors, in which Taylor is not collected. So this is the subject property right here, outlined in yellow. Property itself is 0.72 acres, currently occupied by an office building with a shared access to Taylor Road through the adjacent property to the north. There's approximately 21 available off-street parking spaces currently there with a small fenced-in area off to the rear of the structure. So a little bit of zoning history. It's been subject to multiple use variance requests over the years. Most recently in 23 was for a game store and event space, and then in 12 for a daycare. Neither of those were permitted uses in the M1 zoning district. The request is to rezone from M1 to PRO. The intent is to establish a home health care agency with the structure serving as the main office. For the applicant, the existing building is already configured to be an office. They believe that the use and layout of the site will not be hazardous or existing future neighboring uses and would be served adequately by all existing public facilities. I also believe there'll be no use of activities, et cetera, that'll be detriment to the proposed use as an office. So here's a site plan for basically the current layout of the lot. You can see they got their structure here, parking out front, shared access to the north out on Taylor. And then here's just a photo of the existing conditions on site. And just a look at the building from the right of way on Taylor there. And looking towards the building from the north. So the future land use map recommends flex industrial, which is described as being intended for light industrial users that require space for wholesale, warehousing, clean manufacturing, and repair, and also recommends both industrial and office uses. The requested rezoning to PRO would be in line with the recommendations of the comprehensive plan. Site plan doesn't exactly reflect the existing conditions. There's a 3-foot mound shown on the site plan along the south side of the property that was not installed because there's overhead power lines there. And striping on the parking lot needs to be updated a little bit, but that would be taken care of whenever they apply for the permits to establish a use there. Proposed use as an office is permitted in PRO, but isn't permitted in M1. So as this is not a planned development district, they're not explicitly limited to what would be proposed as their use. Any permitted use in PRO would be allowed, granted all other requirements of code are met. Previous uses obtained use variances from BZAs that are not permitted in M1. M1 only allows retail and office uses if they are subordinate to an overall manufacturing use on site. Currently, the only thing on site is an office building. Again, GB, we discovered last month that GB district is going to be located on arterial thoroughfares, and Taylor Road is not one of those. So they amended their request to change to PRO instead of GP. May not place conditions on a recommendation to council. Conditions placed upon stray rezonings are considered contract zoning, which is illegal. Any recommendation from planning and zoning commission has to go to city council for their final determination. Surrounding properties to northeast, south, and west are all zoned M1 and all various industrial uses. No conditions. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Jack. Let's start with questions, Frank.
No questions for me.
Ian? Alex?
None.
David? None. Okay. Tim? Sorry.
Thank you. Just one question. Is that the only building that's on the lot there?
Correct.
I saw other buildings around, but they're on different lots, correct?
That's correct.
That's it.
Okay. Is there anybody here to speak on this behalf? Okay.
Yes, thank
You come on up. Before you speak, you're going to get sworn in and your name and address, please.
Please swear or affirm the testimony you are giving is true, the defendant, and the truth of the matter.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Robert DiCuccio. I'm an attorney. I'm here representing CK Investments LLC, the owner of the property. My address is 503 South High Street, Suite 100, Columbus, Ohio, 43215. And as staff rightly pointed out, we did discover last month in an obscure section of the code that this property would not be properly zoned as GB, so we did amend our application for a change to PRO zoning. As staff also rightly points out, there would be no needed renovations, additions, or otherwise any alterations to the property. For this use, it's already situated pretty well as an office, and so we're requesting a recommendation of approval today. Other than that, I just thank everyone for their time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Tim,
We touched on this before. I have no questions.
do you have any questions? Dave?
I don't have any questions.
Alex?
None.
Dan? Okay, thank you very much, Frank. With that being said, do we want to deliberate a little bit, or is anybody, are we ready to make a motion?
Good.
Okay. So are we ready to make a motion then, or
I'll say yes.
anybody want to?
Let's see. Recommend approval of rezoning application number ZON-25-001 pursuant to section 1217.10 of the Pataskala Code.
I second.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, David. Okay, we have a motion. Okay, roll, please.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Smiley?
Yes.
Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Mr. Truax?
Yes.
Mr. Encino?
Yes.
Mr. Berman?
Yes.
Okay, motion is passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the docket is rezoning application ZON-25-0025.
So the location of this is at 7164 Hazelton Road, currently zoned Plan Development District, and the applicant's requesting a recommendation of approval to amend sub-area E of an existing Plan Development District, that being Heritage Town Center, from retail to residential to allow for townhomes at a density of 9.2 units per acre. If you look up here, this is the subject parcel outlined in yellow. Got 310 or Hazelton Road here off the east. So it's about 4.63 acres. It's currently zoned Plan Development District. It's an undeveloped wooded parcel, about 243 feet wide in frontage. The existing access drive is stubbed in from the adjacent parcel to the south. A little bit of zoning history. Some of you might remember this. About 2023, it was rezoned from local business to Plan Development District and included into the existing Heritage Town Center Plan Development District as sub-area E. That was for commercial uses only at a density of no more than 10,000 square feet of building per gross acre. The perimeter screening at that point was going to be a continuous 6-foot wide white vinyl fence with evergreen trees, 6 to 7 feet in height, with kind of planting spaced in 12 to 15 foot intervals on the northeast and west sides, and L2 along the frontage. However, development of that as per commercial did not progress, so the request now is a recommendation of approval of the zoning amendment to change the approved preliminary plan development text to change sub-area E to allow for attached single-family townhomes. Pursuant to section 1255.03E, a change to an adopted preliminary plan or development text shall be considered a zoning amendment. So here's a look kind of at the site in total. Like I said, this was rezoned, brought into the overall Heritage Town Center development, being this whole area right here with the existing condominiums on the north and south side, the nursing home on the south side here on the front edge, and then the retail plaza here on the north side, and then the sub-area E that was included into it up here. So again, the site's about 4.352 acres in size. The proposal is for a maximum of 40 dwellings, a density of 9.2 units per acre. Proposed use is single-family attached dwellings. Open space, they've got 30.14 acres, just under 50% throughout the entirety of the Heritage Town Center development. Here's a look at kind of the existing conditions on the property. So we're looking at sub-area E here. And then here's the open space map that was provided. Because this is part of the overall development, the open space was calculated as part of the overall development. Setbacks from the front are 36 feet for parking, 43 feet for structures. On the rear, it's 25 feet. Side, on the north, it's 25 feet. On the south side, it's 15 feet for parking and 25 feet for structures. Access is going to be only through sub-area D to the south, that existing sub-street coming up from the retail plaza. There is a separate emergency access only drive east onto Hazelton Avenue Road. And they're going to extend the existing multi-use path that ends kind of just south of this parcel. They're going to extend that north and add a pedestrian access from the proposed development to it. Parking, they're going to have, every unit's going to have 2 garage spaces and 2 driveway spaces. And there's going to be additional spaces in the rear of the development adjacent to the mailbox kiosk. Here's a kind of look at the layout of the proposed development. So main access will be here on the south. Emergency access over to the east on the Hazelton Road, going back to the cul-de-sac. So buffers on the west and north property lines are going to be a 25-foot width buffer, and there'll be landscaped with evergreen trees 6 to 7 feet in height at the time of planting and space between 12 and 15 feet on center. On the south, that's going to be a 15-foot wide buffer with 6 to 7 feet of evergreen trees. Space every 12 to 15 feet on center with a 6-foot vinyl fence. Along the east front property line, that's going to be the L2 type landscaping as described in section 1283.063B. And here's kind of a visualized look at the landscaping that's being proposed. L2 along the frontage, evergreen trees along the sides, with a fence along the south. And here's kind of an illustrative plan that they included with their submittal there. As far as lighting goes, each building is going to have a decorative coach light on the front, and several decorative street lamps will be provided on the private street. Architectural standards, so max building height is 35 feet. Wall finish materials are going to be wood and high quality vinyl with a minimum nominal thickness of 0.040. Vinyl siding is going to have traditional appearance such as 4-inch horizontal beveled profile or board and batten shake style. Exteriors are going to utilize natural muted earth tones with brighter hues only permitted for building accent features. The roofs will be asphalt shingle and will complement siding colors. Pitched roofs with gable or hips at the ends have a minimum slope of 6 to 12 with 8-inch eave overhangs and 6-inch rake overhangs. And all buildings are going to have traditional single or double hung windows and common window fenestrations. Here's kind of an example rendering that was included in their submittal there of what these units could look like. And then here's their proposed sign that they want to install out front. So as this is a request for a zoning amendment, a recommendation by Planning and Zoning Commission will go to City Council for their final decision. As part of our review, staff would offer the following comments. The future land use map recommends medium density mixed use, which is a comprehensive plan recommends us allowing for both residential and commercial uses with a recommended density of 5 to 10 units an acre. Proposed density at 9.2 is at the upper end of the recommendations of the comprehensive plan, but still within that range. The comprehensive plan also recommends the inclusion of parks, plazas, play areas, water features, and other natural areas to be dispersed throughout the development, as well as creation of path linkages. The proposal does include the connection to and extension of the existing multi-use path along Hazelton Road. There will be 2 water features, one in the rear, one in the front, as well as a gazebo in the front of the development on the north side of the emergency access. The comprehensive plan also recommends buildings having narrow, well-landscaped setbacks with parking to be on the side or rear and screened from view or incorporated on the street. Proposal features front-loaded parking and garages. Staff's compiled a list of comments, which is attached to your staff report there. So a few items of note from that. Regarding the use of the property, the plan text makes no mention of whether the units would be on lots or common ownership. The proposed use of attached single family would be on lots, but no minimum lot sizes or standards are shown on the plan or described in the text. If they are on lots, we will need to see the preliminary lot lines and also standards for those lots, such as minimum size, width, and so forth. They also need a divergence to be added to the development text, since those lots will have frontage on a public street. If they are attached single family and they're platted, then it becomes a major subdivision, which would mean that buildings 4 and 10 on the east side of the development would be subject to residential appearance standards, since they contain less than 4 units. And then buildings 4, 10, and the east unit of building 3 access only the emergency access drive, which is not preferred in the fire district, but likely don't allow for that. Did receive a letter of communication from the school district. We actually did get that on the 30th of last month, so that letter is up on your dais there. For planning development districts, each area proposed for residential uses in the development, the amount of impervious surface coverage must not exceed 50% of the residential area. So impervious being things like rooftops, parking areas, et cetera. We'll need to see some additional data on sub-area to confirm that it meets that requirement. In the staff review letter attached there, there's various other additions and additional information and clarifications that we'll need to see. Again, Planning and Zoning Commission may not place conditions on a recommendation to council. And following a recommendation by the commission, the application goes to City Council for their final determination. Received some comments from the Public Service Department. So they didn't have any comments specifically about the rezoning of the property, the use of it. However, on the layout of the preliminary plan, they commented that we recommend not having driveways connect to the emergency access drive without a turnaround. Clarify how the lots in the southwest corner are going to access the roadway / cul-de-sac. What is currently shown is not standard. It will be difficult to navigate and not acceptable. The parking is frequently an issue in the city. Please address how parking will be handled. Driveways into the intersection at the entrance drive is not standard practice and not recommended. And they also commented that the relocation of the existing storm sewer on the west side of the property isn't preferred. The West Licking Fire District had the following comments. We'll need to see locations of fire hydrants on the preliminary utility plan, specifically one at the end of the cul-de-sac. That a manual gate or other fire district approved barricade will need to be installed at the end of the private street where the fire access drive begins. Confirm that the fire access drive will be paved with concrete or asphalt. No parking on the hydrant side of the street if it's less than 28 feet. And the fire district permit application will need to be completed and approved prior to construction. And their full list of comments is attached to that staff report as well. City engineers say they don't have any comments on the rezoning itself, but we'll expect to have additional comments as they move through the process, doing their site engineering and so on. Didn't receive any other comments from any other departments or agencies. Surrounding properties to the north, east, south, and west are all zoned planned development district. On the north side, you've got Pataskala Ridge, which is single family homes. On the east side, on the other side of his that is currently vacant. On the south, you've got Heritage Town Center, the retail condominium sub area. On the west side, you've got Pataskala Ridge again, which is single family. So again, no conditions can be placed on the recommendation to council. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Thank you very much, Frank. Let's start with Alex.
We come back to me, actually.
Okay. Ann?
All right. Oh, I said that.
Okay, Frank, sorry.
So is this, are we approving the plans, or we're just kind of changing from it being retail to?
Both. So it's a
Residential.
planned development district.
Okay.
Yeah. So anytime you change like an existing preliminary plan or development text, you basically have to just restart the process, so.
Okay, then what would be
Approving
the,
both the preliminary plan and the development text.
okay. And then what would be the next phase after this, if it were to be approved?
So you guys were to recommend approval, go to city council. If they were to approve it, the next step would for them to be their construction plan, so their site engineering, and that would be done administratively. After that, it would come back to the planning commission for their final development plan.
Okay.
And that would be to address any changes that might have happened during their site engineering process.
And has this been reviewed for the residential appearance standards?
So for residential appearance standards, it's if it has 4 or more units in the building, they aren't subject to it.
Okay.
So 1, 2, and 3 unit buildings would be subject to it, which is why we made that comment about the units at the end here, since those are 2 unit buildings. Those would be subject if it was a major subdivision.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's all I have for now.
David?
Can you put up, do you have a?
Yeah.
So, I mean, this came before us in March. Preliminary proposal or idea to take our temperature and how we felt about it. I know we had quite a few comments, and there still seems to be a lot of holes. And I guess it would have been fortuitous for us to maybe get a list of how the things that we commented on initially were addressed or not addressed. So that we could really have a better idea how to evaluate this. So I guess that's more of a comment than a question. Sorry.
No,
It's all right.
Uh,
Mr. Mancino, I will be addressing that.
Yes.
How does this fall into our water usage?
So right now, we're still at that 65 units. We haven't had anything come through that fully approved to take away from that, so we would have capacity for 42. Or sorry, 40, max was 40.
Thanks.
Oh, no, not a problem. Tim?
I don't even know if it's a question. I'm anxious to hear the feedback from the last meeting. There's definitely access issues.
Okay. Alex?
Yeah, I was going back to the staff review comments about items. So buildings 4 and 10, there's discussion about them in the exit vectors into that emergency lane. Is that, obviously that with, at the end of the day, it's probably going to end up changing because there's no feasible way for that to happen, or at least it doesn't seem. What would how far would that drop the units? I wonder. That would be 2 out of the 42.
So
Like 8.
these buildings at the end are 2 unit buildings, so it'd be 2 on the north side and 2 on the south
4
side.
total. That'd be 38. All right. All right. No, nothing else at this point.
So that there are a lot of questions, and this is one that we could table if choose to, correct? It doesn't have to be decided upon tonight if agreed upon.
That's correct.
That's all the questions I have. Anybody here to speak? Again, name and address.
Sure. Connie Klima, PO Box 991, Pataskala, Ohio, 43062. You swear or testimony that is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? I do. To start off, when we got Jack's review, we're looking over everything, going over everything with the engineer, and we are prepared to table tonight, just so that I won't wait till the end to tell you that, leave you on as you received it. even though I hate the table, but I have. First of all, I want to start off by saying that Miranda is the applicant, as you know, and is very excited about Pataskala and very excited about this area. And the reason why they like this site is because it's adjacent to a commercial use, and it's because it's adjacent to other residential. It's a unique site, as you know, both in shape and in location, because it has that walkability area. Now, I know we've talked about that, and we know that what's going on there, people obviously in these condominiums are using the facilities, people drive there, eat there, go to the dentist there, all those things. And when I was here last time, I think Mr. Mancino actually was the one that brought up the idea of walkability. So we have we're going to be changing this more. So this is not what we're going to come back with. But one thing we're making certain of is we have walking areas both on the north and south side of the private street. Those sidewalks will be able to serve and go over to a walkway that goes to the south, because as you know, the main entrance, the entrance of everybody except the fire department is from the south through the rest of the subdivision or the rest of the development itself. So there will be walkability there. We're also looking at another walkability farther to the west so that we can make that walkability human connection there. And then also the trail out along the road will also be extended so that obviously now is walkable. The other thing I think, Ann, you had brought up is in the prior one, we had buildings that were actually backing up 310, and you saw the back of them and it wasn't that pretty. So we have changed that and put the water feature there and have a building, but we also probably will be moving the cul-de-sac farther to the west now and switching and have the other water feature inside. So that was another area that we did. We also had access questions last time about fire trucks coming in, about moving trucks coming in. So the cul-de-sac now is sized at the requirements of the fire department, which I don't believe was brought up by the fire department because it's working. We may be manipulating where that's located, but we will definitely have the ability to have large trucks coming in and moving around and getting out without much difficulty. As far as parking goes, every unit will have a capacity of 4 cars, with 2 inside the garage and 2 on the driveways. Those are the things we worked out. The one thing that we know we can't change, and is like all of the houses on the north, all of the houses on the west, and all the condos behind, front-loaded garages. And we cannot go to a side load or a rear. And so that will be the one thing that we can out of the comprehensive plan. Just like all of the other things around us, we will be going staying with our front loading when we come back. But when you go down through the details, there was a lot of technical things that have to be addressed. We understand the driveway comes the emergency access and not having access for it to the units. We are working on all of that. Miranda, when we started going through this, I said, are you still in? And they're like, oh yeah, we love this. We're going to fix it. We'll make it. I think we can address most everything. And hopefully you will be pleased with what I come back with. I like that.
Thank you very much.
Do you have faith in me? You don't? Come on, man. What do you mean? Tell me what it is. Because it takes a lot of time and energy. We want this to work. This is a product where actually I've asked Miranda and we have looked into it. Some of the other sites that they're doing with this type of thing really is not producing many children. It's more of a step down type after somebody's children leave and they want to be in town and buying and staying in town and being accessible to other things. So the school letter, of course, I don't think I've ever been before you where I've had a school letter that says we're very excited about this subdivision. So, and another thing I was thinking about the other night is that anytime you bring in business, you bring in school children because you bring in people that live here. It's hard to do anything that the school is going to be able to accommodate well unless you start removing people. So, unfortunately, it is what it is. But you understand what the other says.
Thank you. Stay right there because Tim, questions?
Yeah, Where do you think kids will be picked up and dropped off for school? Is it like at their actual building or out at the entrance, like to the building with
I
Rusty's?
think you asked that last time, and I don't know for sure if, right now, the existing condos, I don't know if the bus comes in and there's a central point, but I imagine it would be a central point that would be on the main part of the PDD.
Okay. Building 10, just spitballing it, have you considered that one specifically, rotating it counterclockwise 90 so that it feeds? I mean, we're calling this an emergency access only. I mean, you see the concerns there. You've got
Yeah, we're
building-
gonna change all that, and I've got the engineer here tonight, and I don't know if he's already started thinking of how that is, but we're working on making sure that we address that comment fully.
And just last concern, we all live in the area, of course. We shop there as these people will. I mean, Rusty's, I think there's a wing place there.
Yeah.
That little in and out right there, it just feels like that's going to be quite a bottleneck. Thoughts?
Can you tell me exactly where you're talking?
The
The main entry.
So you're talking about
right there, he's got it right.
the main entry right
main
beside it.
entry.
Well, that's the
The wing.
access that city and engineering and everybody wants us to have. They don't want us to have any other additional access. And that's how it was with the commercial, that it was decided then that it would be the way to go in.
Do you have any traffic plans or anything on that yet or anything? Or we?
So there wasn't a traffic study. Years ago, when they developed the entirety of this, that, as you can probably see where Jack's pointing, years ago, they used to be right in, right out. And after they redid the commercial component and started adding the condominiums, they came back and said, hey, can we make this a full access? So they went through the traffic study and got all the approvals to have it full access. And at that point, it was decided that that would be a full access in, but in order to get to that northern property, you would have to have that cross access to the commercial component.
The other thing I think is in the packet is we had our traffic engineer compare the traffic for this site with residential compared to what is there currently or is permitted there currently with the commercial, and it's much less.
Okay, I guess the last question would be around emergency access itself. These are private streets, right? They're not subject to street police jurisdiction, correct? So what kind of signage, how are we enforcing at all the emergency access only?
Actually, it's probably just like they do at the nursing facility. There's emergency access there off 310 that you probably never really noticed, but they have the particular bollards and different things that they have there on the south side.
Yeah, there was discussions of having a gate, because you couldn't put it along 310, because the fire district said, if I have to use it, I'm stuck on the road while we have to open the
Exactly,
gate.
it'd have to be recessed back.
So they move it back, but then that creates the issue in terms of
4 and 10 there.
4 and 10 have no more access. So it would be gate or bollards or whatever the fire district decides they'd like to see.
David?
So have you or the engineers or the proposed builders looked at reducing the density to maybe 5 units per acre to see if you could accommodate side-loaded parking or alleyway parking instead of maximizing out the site with almost 10 units per acre?
No, because it won't work financially or any way that, no. It won't. And this type of a model and the unit size has been a very popular one and attractive to many people, so they want to stick with that.
Oh.
So at this stage, I think there's gonna be a lot of changes, and so asking too many questions doesn't seem pertinent. I'm excited to see whatever changes y'all propose in the future state of this
Thank you.
myself.
Ann?
Well, I mean, I do have obvious concerns about density and that entrance just, I don't know, it's dangerous now. When I come in and out of the, when I exit, for example, Rusty's Wharf, drive-through, and you come out through the front, along 310 there, and you hang a right to exit onto 310.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know how, it's just, you have that, and then you have the cross, and then you have coming in, and it gets hairy, and it's very narrow. So, I don't know. I just don't see buses coming in there at the same time. I don't see people crossing there safely. I don't know, there would have to be a lot done there. So, that's a concern, especially for children. That's all.
Frank?
Just past Redwood.
Yeah, probably a lot of the same concerns, and obviously, a lot of this is going to change. Density, obviously. There could be some kind of compromise between this density and trying to get some of that traffic down. I think that would help. With the schools, a lot of the other concerns there. I am curious with that gate or whatever they're going to do there. Is that still going to allow people to walk to that multi-use path there, or is that going to prohibit them and they have to go around a different
Well,
way?
we're gonna have to make sure we incorporate that.
Okay, looks like there's a sidewalk there, so, okay. That's all I have though.
I struggle with this lot because I drive by it all the time, and it's like, if not this, what? So I am also going to kind of hold any questions because I'm excited to see what you come back with. It's a step with some of the things you've done, and you've got a list, obviously, to to conquer. And I understand Ann's concern about traffic, but if it's not this, it's going to be something else. And if it's more business, it's going to create traffic too. So unfortunately, that is a lot that's open, and eventually something's going to go there. So I look forward to see what you bring back.
Ann should have been a traffic engineer. And you have been a prominent traffic person.
Well, I don't know, I think about the school buses going in and out here, and the traffic coordination.
No, I understand.
Yeah, and children running across their parking lots.
I obviously sincerely want this feedback. I mean, there's no reason for me or my client to spend time and not be able to make it something that's going to be workable, or to know what your concerns are.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right,
Thank you.
Do we have any speakers? Is anybody here to speak on this? Okay. Deliberation then. They've offered to have it tabled. Any discussion or debate about that?
Just around within the speed limit on 310 compared to the traffic coming out, it'd be
It goes from
Traffic study.
35 to 45. I think the 45 is just past it, if I'm not mistaken. I know it goes from 35 to 45.
It's 50 on 310.
yeah.
Or you're right, it does go to 50, but coming out of Pataskala, it goes 35 until it gets to a point.
Going into Pataskala, it doesn't hit 35 till you get really close to the bridge that's over the creek.
Yeah.
Going in,
I was
you're
gonna
right.
say right off the bridge, I think it turns.
You're right.
So it's an acceleration point.
So going in, coming out, it is 35 until you get to a point, and then it hits 50. So, and that may be something, again, that traffic has to look at, and that would be something, who would handle the speed limit and all that, and take a look at that as to if it needs to be changed.
It'd be the Public Service Department.
Public service.
And I think
That's ODOT too.
there might be some state oversight when it goes to changing speed limits. And this had come up years ago, and I don't remember everything, but it was going into town, it was like 50 on one side, but then coming out of town, it was 35 until you got farther down. There was a weird situation of why do we have separate speed limits? So I think in order to do that, it would arguably be initiated through the Public Service Department, and they would need some approvals from ODOT. But this is going from when I found out about it like 8 years ago, and I don't know if anything has been done or they've investigated how to amend that.
Somebody pull out and get rear-ended there. People coming north there into town still hasn't slowed down yet.
And there was a question about school buses. I know at the Redwood development on the other side of 310, the school bus just stops at the driveway. It stops on
Yeah.
That's what I was
310.
gonna say. They'd probably end up using the emergency exit, like around that space as the pickup
As
point
the
is what I
pickup.
would expect.
And the schools pretty much decide that anyway,
Yeah,
correct?
I was
Where
gonna
they're going to
say,
pick up
correct.
kids at.
Yeah.
Okay. With that being said, do we want to make a motion to entertain a motion then?
Make a motion, recommend, or make a motion to table rezoning application number Z0N-25-002.
Thank you very much, Grant.
A second.
Thank you, Alex. Motion and accept a second. Any discussion? Roll.
Mr. Mancino,
Yes.
Ms. Rogers,
Yes.
Mr. Smiley,
Yes.
Mr. Burry,
Yes.
Mr. Bush,
Yes.
Mr. Truax.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on to other business. We don't appear to have any other business, correct?
That's correct?
Okay. Next would be 7, the excuse of absence for Alexander Smiley from the April 2nd, 2025 regular meeting. And I'll make a motion that we excuse the absence.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Roll.
Mr. Truax,
Yes.
Mr. Bush,
Yes.
Mr. Smiley,
Abstain.
Mr. Mancino,
Yes.
Ms. Rogers,
Yes.
Mr. Burry.
Yes.
Okay, that has been excused. B is David Mancino, from the April 2nd, 2025 regular meeting. Again, make a motion that we excuse the absence.
Second.
Thank you, Alex. Discussion? Roll?
Mr. Smiley,
Yes.
Mr. Truax,
Yes.
Mr. Burry,
Yes.
Ms. Rogers,
Yes.
Mr. Mancino,
Abstain.
Mr. Bush.
Yes.
That has been approved. All right, the number 8 on the docket is the approval of minutes from April 2nd, 2025, regular meeting minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look over the minutes? And are there any corrections or changes?
We do have a couple of corrections.
Go ahead, Ann.
Next on the agenda to replat application REP 25-001, 206 Leasy Drive, Sand, 303 Levi Drive. I think it's and Levi Drive. You see that?
It's first page.
First page.
Midway down.
First on the agenda, old business tabled, and then next on the agenda,
The replat application REP 25-001-0026 of Leasy Drive, Sand, 303 Levi Drive. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
bolded print there in the middle.
Sand
Yeah. It's supposed to be and.
and
are you seeing
you
it?
see that, Lisa?
Mhm.
Oh,
Okay.
you see it. We're
Yeah, she's
waiting for
good.
feedback
I'm
from you.
sorry,
You're
Okay,
fine, you're fine.
and,
I was reading too, so I.
and then I seconded my second on, page 2,
Well, you were a little
For
redundant that.
REP 25001. Seconded by Ms. Rogers, Mr. Boggs.
Well, you seconded it, and then I had to call it.
Right. No, I'm saying my name is written twice.
Oh,
There's a period.
There's
Second by Ms. Rogers. period.
I didn't see the period.
And then Ms. Rogers.
Okay, thank you.
All voted.
Okay, you're good. That's all I found.
Any other corrections or comments on the Okay. If there are no others, I will make a motion that we approve the April 2nd, 2025 regular meeting minutes as that.
I do have one more.
Oh, please.
Mr. Smiley inquired as to any drainage concerns. I was not present,
Was that person?
so I'm not sure who
Which your
inquired,
voice is it?
but I was here in the spirit apparently, and,
Okay. Okay. With all of those, again, we'll make a motion that we approve the April 2nd, 2025 regular meeting minutes as changed.
Second?
Thank you, Frank. Discussion? Roll.
Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Mr. Smiley?
yes.
Ms. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Truax?
Yes.
Mr. Metzger?
Yeah.
Okay. With that, we're down to the one final, and I'm not here to talk about Rick. For number 9, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn till Wednesday, June 4th, 2025.
Thank you, Frank.
A second.
Thank you, David. Discussion? Roll.
Ms. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Metzger?
Yes.
Mr. Truax?
Yes.
Mr. Browning?
Yes.
Mr. Smiley?
Yes.
Mr. Bush?
Yes.